Happy Call a General Election Petition Debate Day. Is it anything to get excited about? Because in case you've forgotten, this petition here got over 3 million signatures. Granted, it's probably difficult to verify that all of them are accurate, although some people criticise them from being outside of the UK, which is not really a valid criticism because there are British citizens that live outside of the UK. Interesting trivial point here: if you have been living in the UK on an indefinite leave to remain but don't have British citizenship, you can't vote. Meaning someone that's been here for a few short years and gone down the route of British citizenship can vote, but someone that's been here for maybe 30, 40 years cannot. By the by, this has got over 3 million signatures and they did agree to have a debate about it. Now, there was no guarantee that it was going to get a debate, but it's going to get a debate. But before that debate happened, they came back with a full response. And before we get into any of that, if you are new to me, I'm Daniel Smith, a barrister of England and Wales. Please do subscribe to the channel because I am not the mainstream media. I am hopefully a refreshing, brutally honest alternative to the mainstream media. I will tell you exactly what I think and exactly as it's going on. So, please do subscribe. So let's have a look at this, shall we? This was the government's full response. Now, the full response you can probably remember and have predicted went over all of the same rhetoric that we'd heard before. You could play government bingo with this. £22 billion black hole, inherited unprecedented challenges, crumbling public services, crippled public finances, etc., etc. All of the same stuff that had been regurgitated again and again was part of the government's formal response. However, they did agree to hold a full debate. I say a full debate, don't get too excited. This video is here to hopefully give you some idea as to what to expect. And you won't expect it until 4:15 this afternoon. And so how many MPs turn up at this debate is entirely another question. I would certainly hope that Sir Keir Starmer turns up for this debate, but I somewhat doubt it. My prediction here is that there'll be very, very few people from Labour turning up for this debate. If any, I don't know. I don't know how many are going to turn up, but I very much doubt Keir Starmer's going to turn up for this debate. And I don't know how many will turn up from other parties either, for that matter. But nonetheless, you get to watch this live. Now, from my understanding, UK Parliament is not a TV broadcast channel, so you shouldn't really need a TV license to watch this live. This is not legal advice, but in my view, even if they say you should, I think you shouldn't. So I think that would be open to judicial review, even if they try to prosecute you for it. But by the by, this is not a TV licensing video. But this debate will begin at 4:15 in the afternoon. I suspect, as I say, very few people will turn up. I suspect very little will actually happen at the debate. You'll probably be able to play the same kind of bingo of all of the same kind of things, such as we've just had a general election that was only a few months ago. This is how it is. We're going to wait until this finishes, and possibly a lot of the old, well, you had it for 14 years, and etc., etc. All of which there's some argument to that. By the way, I'm not entirely against Labour and for Conservative here. It's quite right. There was 14 years of lots of things that could have been done very much better. That's not the point. That's what I think you're going to hear in this debate. But what will actually happen? Well, the petition is calling for the calling of a general election. Now, a general election can be called at any time by the advice of the Prime Minister to the King, who technically retains that power to dissolve Parliament, and in which case that triggers a general election. But that's not going to happen. In my view, that's just not going to happen. Certainly with Keir Starmer coming out swinging and fighting against all of this online debacle with Elon Musk and the stories that I can't really go into too much detail on about in YouTube, but suffice to say, I think there should be a new inquiry, because I don't think the old inquiry quite covered everything that needed to be covered. Perhaps more about that in another video, but with Keir Starmer coming out swinging to the press about all of that, I don't think that's going to be followed by him in a debate saying, well, all right, then let's have a general election. Just not going to happen. So technically, the King retains the power to dissolve Parliament, But on the other hand, technically, the king has the power to refuse to dissolve Parliament, even at the end of this 5-year period, because although it's a maximum in law, technically, from my understanding, if there's any constitutional experts in the comment section, feel free to correct me, but from my understanding, if there's an absolute crisis where it would be against democracy, against the economy or whatever, the king could step in and say, well, actually, I'm not doing that just yet. Perhaps I need to do more reading about that, but nonetheless. Otherwise, it is a fixed term of 5 years, and it will only be cut short on the advice of the Prime Minister to the King to dissolve Parliament, and that will be that. But it's even confirmed in here. So they're even telling you what's going to happen or what's not going to happen before that doesn't happen. So it says here, what are petition debates? Petition debates are general debates which allow MPs from all parties to discuss the important issues that are raised by one or more petitions, so they can be consolidated and put their concerns to government ministers. So if enough ministers turn up and throw these arguments across and say we should have a general election because they've lost faith, and insert all the arguments about VAT on school fees, winter fuel allowance, green initiatives, etc., all of these different things that people have complained about over the last 5 months or so, all could be thrown at ministers as reasons to say, well, public has lost confidence, etc. But speaking of confidence and lost confidence, the other way of dissolving Parliament is a majority vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister and the party. But nonetheless, don't think that's going to happen either. It's a possibility, but I don't think that's going to happen either. But it says here, petition debates don't end. Here's the important bit that everyone really came to the video for. Petition debates don't end with a vote to implement the request of a petition. So there'll be no vote. This is a debate. It's an exchange of ideas and criticisms, etc. But it will not end with a vote to implement or not the request of the petition to call a general election. This means MPs will not vote on the request of the petitions at the end of the debate. Instead, the aim is to give MPs an opportunity to discuss the issues raised by petition and get a response from the government, which you've already had, which will only be reiterated. I expect that they'll either read out the response, they'll say, right, we'll open this debate with our formal response to it. That's the response. That's all we've got to say. Probably there might be a bit of back and forth on various issues after that, but you'll hear many of the same arguments as you've heard before. I don't think anything will be new. I don't think anything will change. Petition debates scheduled by the Petitions Committee. Only petitions started in the Parliamentary Petitions site are considered the Petitions Committee. So that is that, really. You've got the official response, which was over here, and that was much of what you would expect. So aside from that, I think this will all be a little bit of an anticlimax. Despite having over 3 million signatures, I just don't think a great deal is going to happen. Which does beg the question, what's the point of these petitions? Because it is an opportunity for the public to have their voice heard, because it's petitions with 100,000 signatures are almost always debated, and so with 3 million, clearly it would be debated. They might consider it if before it reaches 100,000, and it gets a response from government at just 10,000 signatures, which I say just, it's a lot in one sense and it's not a lot in another sense. So for example, if you're starting out on YouTube or whatever, 10,000 subscribers, for example, is a lot of subscribers when you're starting out. But 10,000 signatures on a document which could theoretically change the direction of the whole country is a drop in the ocean. But there we go. I thought you might find that minimalistic insight interesting. If you do, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you for watching.